Greetings! Welcome to my Momiji combo guide. I'm Force of Nature representing top tier tips, and I welcome you to your prime spot for tips and tricks to help you level up at Dead or Alive 5. In this session, what we're going to be looking at are bread and butter go-to combos for Momiji. Basically some combos that are not necessarily too complex or anything like that, but stuff that is practical and highly recommended to implement into your gameplay if you're looking to develop your play as Momiji. Alright, I'll just let you know right now that for Momiji, she's generally considered like a kind of a stun launch character. So what that means is that instead of having to really continue through the stun game and risk getting counter held or getting defensive held, what is actually recommended is that after you stun, you can just go for like a launcher right away. So I'll end up showing you that kind of shortly, but before I go on, I just want to throw out a couple disclaimers. The first disclaimer, it is highly recommended that you check out the Momiji novice guide or novice tutorial that I put together for her. And also, if I end up saying anything in this combo guide that you're not completely familiar with or makes you kind of question like what's going on, then also be sure to check out some of my other top tier tip guide to see if you can find any answers to your queries. Anyways, moving on. Like just a little moment ago, I just gave you a little kind of recommendation is to play Momiji in what's called a stun launch kind of fashion. Right. What that kind of means is after you stun the opponent with something, launch him right away. Alright, so that's as opposed to like doing that, which is like right there is playing the stun game where you risk getting hit with a counter hold. So what I do recommend is after a stun, just launch. Alright, so right now I'm just going to show you some sample combos with using 6PK as an example. You can get the same effect off of like PPK also, which is essentially stunning with her 6K. I like using 6PK as an example because of the delay capability. So what that means is that you can kind of fish for a counter hit, and you can end up either getting a big stun or a launch or something like that. Anyways, alright, here's some combos with 6PK as the starter. Next up, let's take a look at Momoji's 4-4K. This move. Alright, with Momoji's 4-4K, this is a nice poke to start to start a little stun game with. It's like -3, it's a safe on block poke. It's only about 18 frames, and it actually reaches a pretty good distance. So yeah, so this attack is a pretty nifty one here. The two attacks that you're most likely going to be following up with is 4-4K back turn P or 4-4K back turn 4P. All right, let's take a look at some combos with this. let's look at Momoji's 9K now. This move. Alright, for that move we saw right there, which is a pretty decent range high kick, this move is actually a pretty interesting move for starting combos. It is similar to Kasumi's H+K in the sense that it causes a stumble stun when it hits the opponent. The difference is that Kasumi's requires a counter hit in order to get that stumble stun status. Momoji's just gets it right away. The nice thing about that stumble stun is it allows for guaranteed follow-ups. What that means is that you can get a free 6/6 PP or a free P+K. I will give you a slight warning that it is possible to stagger escape out of both options, where the P+K could be staggered out with a fast slow escape, and 6 PP could be staggered out with a fastest slow escape. But in my experience, I find that very few people can really stagger escape on fastest consistently. So under most circumstances, you can go for your follow-up right away. So I mean, a nice thing also about 9P is it's fully safe on block, so you can, if you have a little bit of advantage where you won't be out poke, feel free to just chuck it out. All right, let's just look at some uses of it. Alright, I hope you enjoyed that little 9K goodness there. As a little added tidbit, 9Ks also hold resistance, which means that it can't be held, so yeah, I mean... so there's even another reason to just abuse that move if you get the chance. But now, let's now move on to Momoji's sit-down stunts. Alright, so let's take a look at 214P. As you can see right here, this move causes a sit-down stun on normal hit. Alright, so with this move, it's a little slower than moves like 9K or 44K. I think it's at about like 23 frames, but if it's not really that unsafe on block, and it does have a follow-up in 214 P+K, or there's also 214 PP. But with this move, what this does is it allows you to get stuff like a guaranteed back turn 4P. Like this back turn 4P was like an amazing buff for Momiji, because now she can start chaining sit down stuns, which is actually amazing. So let's look at some of that goodness, shall we? Oh, and yeah, before I go on, I also will let you know that you can do stuff like 214P, back turn 4P, and 66P. All those are guaranteed if the opponent is unable to stagger escape all stuns on fastest. So these can be very dangerous setups. Let's have a look. Continuing on now with sit-down stuns, moving along to Momoji's 6H+K. Alright, I don't find this move to be as... effective as a 214P or 214P P+K in terms of being like an incredibly abusive sit-down stun, but it is still a pretty good move in its own respect, and if you could space it properly, it still is a very potent whiff punishment tool. Alright, just to let you know, if you do hit an opponent with 6H+K, 3P or 66P, or even stuff like 4K are guaranteed, in the sense that if the opponent is not able to fully stagger escape the stun, then you can always hit like these 15 frame pokes. If I'm not mistaken, 3P actually might be guaranteed entirely, because it's like a 13 frame poke, and so this move gives you a free lift stun. But for me, I tend to like using 6xp, as you'll end up just seeing right here in a moment. So here we go. More sit down stun goodness. So, have you guys gotten your fill of sit-down stuns yet? Yeah, have fun with those. I mean, you could get some pretty interesting setups with those, especially if you can hit the opponent into unbreakables or like things like that. So, like, see what kind of like setups you can get with Momoji's sit-down stuns. Anyways, let's just take a look at Momoji's combo throw, her Tengu T. Alright, with this throw here, I admit that personally I don't really implement it that much, because I find it can be a bit of a risk, and if the opponent is dealing with your Tengu properly, they should be just fussy guarding under the setups. But if you end up hitting that throw, there is some like interesting stuff you can do with it. I'll even let you know you can even get like a force tech set up off of it. The opponent can tech roll it, but you kind of like get the idea that it is some of the stuff that you can like do with that throw. So in a moment I'll end up showing you some of that, but I will let you know that you're also going to be, from here on out, you're also going to be seeing some critical burst setups, combos, stuff like that, and even stuff with their like power launcher, her like 1T low hold. So you're going to see a lot of goodies from here on out. So thanks for staying with me so far. Alright, I'll be back in a moment. So in the meantime, just enjoy the Momiji goodness you're going to be having. The Momiji goodness you're going to be having right now. Thank you. That was quite a blast, wasn't it? Alright folks, I just want to thank you for being with me today here for this Momiji combo guide. I hope it was quite helpful for you. Just want to know if you have any questions pertaining to it. Feel free to contact me at Force of Nature from freestepdodge.com. And you can also contact me on my YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. And also be sure to take a look at my other guides, both the top tier tips series and my character guides, just to get a better, well-rounded view of DOA and Dead or Alive 5 last round. Well, anyways, that's it for now. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time on Top Tier Tips.